It's kind of like a balladish, yeah, song. Back in black, I hit the sack. I've been too long, I'm glad to be back. Yes, I'm let loose from the news. That's just me hanging the cloud. I've been looking at the sky, cause it's letting me high. Forget the hurt, cause I never die. I got night lines, cat's eye. Abusing everyone and then over why. Cause I'm black, yes, I'm black. Well, I'm black, yes, I'm black. Well, I'm Well, I'm back in black. Yes, I'm back in black. Oh, back in the back. Cadillac #1 with a bullet on my throat. Yes, I'm in the bag with the gang. They gotta catch me if they want me to hang. I'm back on the track without needing no flag. Nobody's gonna get me on another rap. So look at me now, I'm just making my way. So now I put your life again out of whack. 'Cause I'm black. Yes, I'm black. Well, I'm black. Yes, I'm black. Well, I'm back in black. Yes, I'm back in
Damn it. Seriously? Fuck. Thanks, YouTube, for ruining my intro with their freaking ads. Cleared all that shit so this wouldn't happen. Fucking greedy bastards. Threw it all off sync. Just for that. There we go. Really? Again? Have a little talk with you, YouTube. I don't interrupt your boardroom meetings and take a shit on your boardroom table, do I? Howdy, folks. I'm back. Back in black. Sorry about that, but I get a little pissed off when I try all this attempt at synchronizing all these shots to the music and to have these guys come in and add an ad and then another ad. I went through this whole video and cleared out all the ads so that wouldn't happen. So a little message to YouTube. How would you like it if I kicked your doors down and took a big fat dump on your boardroom table during your executive meeting? How would you like that, huh? Because some of this stuff is more important than your stupid meetings. And how dare you interrupt my stream? Anyway, sorry, I have to vent that because I don't like that. I know exactly what they're doing. Playing games with me. You should know better. It's not a game. Anyways, welcome, folks. Sorry, I'm a little heated because of that. I don't like I work hard on these intros for you guys, and I don't like them interrupted like that. I step away for 1 second to go say a prayer while I got this thing rolling. I come back, and there's a big fat ad sitting there. I'm not monetized, and yet they're still posting ads on my stream, making money off of me. Duly noted. Hi, everybody. Welcome back. Sorry I'm a little heated there, but imagine how you would feel if you went through reboot after reboot, setting up all kinds of wonderful stuff for your audience, and to have these guys so rudely interrupted. You guys should be mad. It's your show. Anyways, here we are. This is June 23rd, yes, of 2023. So 6/23/23. All right, not a good combination of numbers. But if you look at today's activity, it was pretty quiet. Thankfully, it's quiet. If you look over here on the red side, we have a spire going here, a spire going here, 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 here. So there's a bunch of inbound activity. These things are like compass needles. They point at the inbound objects. It's already attracting plasma off the sun. Okay, it's already starting to react to some kind of inbound object in this vicinity, over here, down here, okay? So even though, see right here on this spire, see where this one came out right here? Boom, all right? But there's still something left, okay? Just watch these little spots. This is where our next activity is probably going to come from. It doesn't happen every time, but usually these things act like compass needles. They point at the magnetic north or the incoming magnetic field. Okay? Pretty simple stuff. Okay, but not much activity today. What I do want to do, though, is go back to yesterday, which we just saw there wasn't much activity yesterday either. A few spits and sputters. Okay. But what we need to do is tomorrow is going to be, now is the 24th, okay? Very special number, 24. But what we need to do is go back 3 days to the 21st and see what happened on the 21st as far as our inbound energy, what to expect as far, ooh, boom. We got that big old blast right there, okay? Even though it's kind of behind us, it's shooting, it's passing kind of north and above us. It's still going to affect the northern hemisphere, okay? So this thing is going to pass over the northern half of the Earth back behind us, behind our orbit. Say if this ball were sitting out in space, or say this round circle is the sun right here. If it's a ball and we back up to where the camera is here, and this is floating out in space, you can see that this thing is coming at us kind of over the camera, over the left-hand corner of the camera up here. So it's going over the camera kind of back towards my head. I'm right behind the screen, and it's like heading from your perspective back toward behind you, towards me behind you, okay? So that is inbound energy that is due on the 24th, okay, which is today. Now let's come over to, please, Lord, can we have silver ham tonight without interruptions again, please, Lord? Jeez Louise. Okay. Hang in there, folks. Please be patient. This is the life I have to deal with of interruptions, paranormal activity, just objects disappearing. What is this now? Come back into screen. Playing games with me. Oh, jeez, really? Wonderful. Oh, please. How about let's try it again? Load this up. Had all this stuff loaded up pre-show. All right. Maybe my computer just can't handle so much information. I guess AI isn't as smart as we thought it was. Okay. Look at our quiet activity. We came off this big spike. This was almost like the last little object of this configuration, and now it's gone quiet, and we're creeping along down at the seafloor with little tiny small spits and sputters, but nothing too big. Okay. The heartbeat of the sun has kind of calmed down for right now, even though I'm under huge attack. Huge. Oh, if you guys could even fathom. So, here we are at our, let me zoom back out a little bit. Here we are at our auroras. They're bright green, nothing yellow or red, but we're taking in some energy. This inbound energy that happened on the 21st is starting to arrive, all right? I would expect to maybe see this one on the northern hemisphere get brighter and possibly glow yellow or red, okay? Not so much this one on the south. This object is to do, it looks to go above the Earth, over like the northern hemisphere of the Earth. So I would expect its effects to affect the northern hemisphere more than the southern, per se. Okay. But yet you can see we are still absorbing energy. It gets transferred to the core. The core absorbs it, heats up, expands. It expands into the shell, heats up the shell. The shell wants to expand outward but can't because of the crust and all the magma and all the pressure on top of it. So its only choice is to expand downward back onto the core, causing it to core lock. And that's what I was almost going to call this stream, but I don't want to put that out there quite yet. So what we're going to do, though, oh wait, we weren't finished with this instrument. Hang on, I'm rushing my own show here. Okay, so let's get out of this. I want to see the tracker real quick. And there's nothing on the tracker because we didn't really take much. There wasn't any events. They're still showing this old one and this one, but nothing on the tracker. When it was up there, it went off to the side. It looked to just the edge of the wave was due to clip the Earth, just the edge of it. It was more down in this region here. Where's my pointer? Get my fat finger out of there. It was more down in this region, traveling that direction. So I just want to see if there was any new info up there. Okay, so we can back out of this. Yep, we're done. Yep, we're done. Let's get over to the Schumann. Oh, God, help me with this one, please. Oh. All right, this one's going to take a minute because we're going to be zooming in and trying to get the best shot I can get for you. Oh, I think I can go 150 on this one. Is the best one. Is that smaller? Oh, that's the biggest one right there. Okay. So, we really don't need to see much of the left side. You're not missing much. It's pretty much normal right before this line. But here's our core screeching events where the core and the shell screech. When the metal and metal rub on each other, just like a bad set of brakes, they screech. Okay, and they leave these low frequency, not high frequency. These are low frequency, starting at 0 hertz, going to 20. Okay, going to 40. Sorry, on this graph. Okay, but what I want to point out is this dark line right here. Okay, as long as there's this green line going across, we're fine. Okay, we don't want to see any breaks in that green line, in this line, or see how it gets weak. What I need to do is pull back. All right, get the whole thing. We're all used to seeing this activity right here. This is normal activity. This is what this instrument looked like for years. There was no white streaks or anything. And then I think it was 2014 or something, 2015, we started having, I forget what year it was, but we started having these white streaks on here, and everybody was wondering what was going on. Well, once I learned how this instrument worked, studied how it records echoes that are bouncing off the ionosphere coming back down, I realized that these are the echoes that are emitting from the Earth, from the surface of the Earth. These are the low frequency vibrations that are traveling from the core and the shell, grinding on each other, traveling up through the magma, hitting the surface, the crust. They slow down as they go through denser material, such as the crust, thus the low frequencies, and when they emit from the surface, they go up away from the planet, but they hit the ionosphere and bounce back down as an echo. And that's what this instrument does. It records the echoes. It records the hum of that magnetic field. Just like an electric motor, when you spin the shaft inside of a little electric motor, either you add electricity to make it spin, or you can spin it by hand and electricity will come out the other end. But when spinning inside of that shell, it creates a magnetic field. That's the same effect with our planet. It's the rotating of the core inside the shell that generates the magnetic field around our planet. When that core and that shell lock up and they no longer rotate and that engine seizes up, you know what happens when an engine seizes up? It's not good when an engine seizes up. This black stripe right here is our engine seizing up. It did it for a brief moment. It's not a core lock. It is, but it's small. Now, what we need to do is just kind of slowly, methodically kind of get into this a little bit closer, a little bit deeper. Please bear with me as I try a few little operational variation strategy here. Nope. Oh, this way. That's how we do it. Alright, well, screw it. It's just going to have to kind of stay this way because this is kind of, I need more of this screen anyway. Right here is where our line, you see after these screeching events, it gets really weak, but then it'll rebound and come back. Our core is rotating backwards inside of its shell. Eventually the shell will start to counter-rotate the other way too. But for the moment, it's still spinning inside the shell, producing a magnetic field, okay? Except for right here. This black line is where we had a hiccup. Let's just call it a hiccup for right now, okay? It seized up for a second, but then it released and started spinning again, kind of medium, not strong and green, like over here on the left of this white line, not strong and green, but it did start to come back and then seized for a second, came back weak, got really weak, had a screech event, still was really weak, another screech event, but look how weak it is right through here. All right, came back to life a little bit right here, but now it's getting weak again. All right, oh Lord, help me, how do I tone this delicately? Yes, you always say that. Please speak through me. I don't know how to say it. I don't know how to tone this. Okay. Please speak through me. Okay. So, right here, when this happened and our magnetic field dropped, okay, radiation, exotic particles, solar wind, everything penetrated the atmosphere for a second there. And something else penetrated the atmosphere then too. See, that magnetic field keeps out entities. And when the field is down, those entities can bombard and enter in mass quantities. This event appears on this little scale of time down here. It appears to be just a little bit over half an hour, I would say. There's a brief little another little brief stoppage right after this main line, just a tiny little slit right there. So, but here's our main one right here. So when that magnetic field goes down, not only do we get radiation that can do cellular damage, cancers, all kinds of dangerous stuff. We all know what happens when radiation affects the body, right? Something I want to point out too, when we had that core stoppage event, how black the screen got during that event. If you look at the bottom of this line right here, well, it's black, all right? It's not blue like the rest of the screen. The bottom of this line right here is black. Okay, so we had a quick stoppage and a bunch of shit came through. And I'm dealing with it the best I can. Okay? Not only did particles come through, but a bunch of entities can make it through too. It's like when the veil goes down, kind of. Alright? If you know what I'm talking about. Well, we had an event there. And I've been a busy boy. Now, after this event, we have two more of these screech events. We come out of it weak. It comes back to life a little bit, but it's weakening right now, okay? And at the current moment, it's still kind of weak. It's still going to keep going because the way the core is spinning now is the natural way it's supposed to be. It's supposed to be opposite the direction of our orbit because of the magnetic lock with the center of our core with the core of the sun. There's a magnetic lock between the two to keep a certain balance there that, we'll get into this stuff later. Never mind. But for right now, we had a very dangerous event, okay? There are all kinds of stuff going on now, all right? So, pray. I will pray for hedges of protection over all my audience and all the people who understand and believe me and know what I'm talking about. Because this could happen again anytime. You know, we have another one of these screeching events. We could have another stoppage like this, and let's just say they're not good. Okay, not good at all, especially on me. And I'm sure you guys feel weird side effects too. Let me tell you something about this. This 7.83 hertz is what your body runs on too. So when this stops, this resonance keeps you kind of sane. When that's not there, you lose your shit for 30 minutes. Nobody probably recognized it, but everybody probably lost their mind for 30 minutes there. It had an episode at the same time. All this radiation came in, these entities came in, the magnetic field dropped because our core and our shell. That's about as delicate as I can do it, Lord. Let's move on before I get sick. Please pull up this instrument. Come on, Lord. Please, please. Oh, thank you. Okay. Now, something I need to point out here at this instrument. We're at null school right now, okay? Now, I was doing some comparisons with the flow, this backwards flow, to previous years. Guess what? This backward flow happens a lot. It must be natural conditional to the seasons. Okay? This is not 2023. Okay? And you're seeing that backward flow. This is the upper. This is your polar vortex. Okay? But this is not 2023. Did I say 22? Whatever. This is not current. This is 2020. Here. We got a little calendar here. This is 2022. Okay? So, something I want you to see here. Where are we? Let's go back to like 2018 here. Okay? So, 2018 we had this backwards flow. So, this flow happens compared to the summertime, I guess. All right? So, a lot of this I've been wrong on. So, let me clarify this right now. This backwards flow seems to be a seasonal shift. All right? Thankfully, and it's not because of the core reversal. Because if this is due to the core reversal, it would be catastrophic. And that's what we're seeing is catastrophic weather. So, I'm trying to clear the air here. This backwards flow has been going on for a while. And this is the same date. This is June 24 of 2018. All we're doing is changing the year, okay? So, 2018, I just want you to take a peek at what the flow is like in the United States, okay? And we're just going to kind of keep it positioned right about there. I can't move the globe over, and I need to use this legend here, so what we're going to do now is we're going to change years, okay? So, let's go to 2019, shall we? Now look at the flow, okay? Now let's go to 2020. Okay, see our flow? It's green, bluish. We had some red that one year. Okay, let's keep going here. That's 2020. Let's go to 2021. I want you to just kind of compare. All right, see, here's some of this red flow a little bit here. Still going backwards, but this is seasonal, I presume. I'm going to have to do a little more research to find out what's really going on up here in our upper atmosphere, because this is affecting our weather down below. Either way. So, here it is, this backwards flow. A little bit of red here, okay? Now let's go to 2022. Same date, this day, 2022. See our green, our blue flow, okay? Good, now we're going to go to 2023. Now I want you to note the difference between that flow and that. Did you see that? Let's go back to 2022, shall we? Let's go back a year. Boom. Something I want to point out. You see this blue barrier? See the blue barrier line? Goes all the way around the planet. Okay. Okay. This is normal for June 24th. Okay. That was what it was like in 2023, 2022. Now let's compare it to 2023 and take this away now. Okay. Do you see we've had a big, huge change? There's no blue barrier anymore. This flow is hooking up with the equatorial flow. This equatorial flow is almost red all the way around the world. It's pink and purple in some spots. Okay, so we've had a big change since the previous years. This polar vortex happens every season too. You know, let's go back a couple years and just so I can show you this. So let's go back to 2022. All right, let me pull back just a tad bit so you can see it a bit better. Now, let's go back another year, 2021. Okay, so it happens every year down there. This is their polar vortex gets this charged up in their winter time. So everybody should be breathing a little sigh of relief, okay? Because this is normal activity. It's a little stronger this time, but every year around this time, the polar vortex down there gets nice and strong. Okay, let's get back to 2023, current day. Okay, now we have this big, strong El Nino effect right now going on there, or not El Nino. This is the colorization represents this intensity of the wind. All right, these are all wind speeds. So our winds at mid latitudes or at the equatorial to tropic zone right there are all pretty high speed going around the upper atmosphere. Okay. Now let's drop down to our jet stream. Get rid of this. Now this backwards flow still disrupts our jet stream. And look how disrupted and gnarly it is. Look at these individual vortexes all over the place. One here, one there, one there, one there, one there. They're just, it's all buckled. Some places are straight, other places are curved, buckled, separated, split. Just all kinds of crazy activity. Okay, so now let's go to the jet stream over America. Our upper jet. We have this cold air that's coming up out of like Siberia, out of the Gulf of Gulf of Alaska, coming down, mixing with this moist air, blending together, making this hot cocktail. This cocktail going right at Mexico, Texas, Arizona, even our kind of region. We're right on the edge of that right there. So all of Southern California, this whole region, weather's going to be directed your way. Okay. This whole and across the look at this. Let me go in a little tighter. See how it hits this ridge right here, buckles and splits, goes up. This part of Canada up here, right up in here, you're going to have some weather issues as well. Okay. Also down here, see how it dives down into Florida? It's going to bring this moist, cold air down into here. They could possibly have thunderstorms here in the next couple weeks or next couple days here in this area. Okay. And look, it's just really intense here at Southern California. Okay, from say the Bay Area south. Okay. So let me take the winds off there. Alright, now you can see the coloration. So basically from Tahoe, the Bay Area south is going to be all, the jet stream is going to be racing through that area, directing the weather over this region. Comes up, whoops, let's put the wind back in real quick. Okay, oh yeah, it splits, goes up here, so you might get stuff up here in, the Dakotas, and then it's going to turn violently and head up towards Canada. So all this region be on, keep your head, on a swivel. Okay. Let's go a little bit lower now. Let's go down to 850. Want to see something? See, we still have this low out here. It's all wound up. Let's take this off. See this spiral effect right there. So we got this low that's still kind of grinding away out there. All right, and see how it's making this strong little front right here. So this could get pushed into the west coast eventually. So, all right, let's get over the chemicals real quick. Get this instrument taken care of. Get out of here and get to our gem and spiritual report tonight. Okay, here's America still bleeding out. It's looking a little bit better. Let me get the wind out of there again. It was clicking, sorry. Alright, still kind of divided. This from this line over is still all bleeding out a bunch of sulfur dioxide. This over is clear, pretty clear. Little individual sites, but these blossoms that were up here in Canada, are still there, but not as strong. It seems to have shifted more easterly now, and we have these new blossoms that have intensified out here in eastern Canada. Okay, so you guys out here, watch out for fires. Okay, because that's what happened up here in Canada when these first erupted from the ground up there. So, mm, let's keep moving. Gotta keep moving. Okay, Oahu looking better, still has a plume, but the other islands are relieving pressure. The volcano on Hawaii erupting relieved a bunch of pressure there. Okay, no relief of pressure for China. The pressure's on big time for China. And you can see they got huge plumes of the sulfur underneath them, and it's gassing them out. And we got issues in India. Her face is in this stuff. It's nuts. I'm not even going to point them out anymore. Maybe you guys will see them on your own. Here's Russia, Europe, Spain, still kind of bleeding out. Okay. Let's go on down to South America, shall we? And we have this activity along the coast still. Okay. Zoom in real quick. All individual sites. Okay. Boom, 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 boom. All up and down their coast. You know, the biggest earthquake on record, I believe, was down here in South America. And they might get, with all this pressure, I mean, this gas is relieving some of the pressure, but this area is known for some big quakes. And with this being like excuse me, with this being like a focal point and all this gas and pressure being released right here, this could be like a possible rupture zone of a big one, where a big one might rupture. Could be here, and it could be anywhere, but with these plumes like this, it kind of gives me a little indication that there's a lot of activity underneath, right along that coastline right there. And my last look at the earthquakes, it was pretty quiet there, so that's a good thing. Now, the purple island of Java. Okay. Not so purple, deep purple anymore. It's still got a lot of gas coming out of it, but our main plume now is right here in the channel. And that Krakatoa is right here. This seems to be a little tighter, a little closer in this channel. I'm almost wondering if we're going to have a new volcano erupt in this channel right here instead of Krakatoa going off, because it's right here. Okay, I believe. It's pretty close to right here. So, this plume is close to it, but it's not underneath it precisely. This almost looks like this is gas coming up out of the water, okay? This is a channel right here between two continents, or, an island and a continent. So, a lot of gas coming out of this region out of the water. Okay, you can see this tip of Malaysia right there. See how it's got a little intense plume. Okay, it's all over the place. South Africa got their intense plume. Saudi Arabia, right out here right on the coast of the Red Sea. So, it's all over the place. We're not going to do the other sulfur compound. We'd only do that like once a week. I think we're done with this instrument. Let's get over the quakes. Alright. Oh, look. We just had a quake at that focal point. I was just talking about it, and it was all clear there just a minute ago. Yep, 4.4 at a depth of 103. Okay, that's good. That's scrubbing off energy. It's a little deep. It's probably more like almost a 5 at the surface. Well, 103. No, it's more like a 4.6 or 7 at the surface. That's not very deep. Let's go over to this one real quick over here. 4.9 at a depth of 161. All right. Now, for our regular start-off jump start point. Now, this is our deep quake right here. Let me pull back a little bit. Oh, we're still way too close. back so you guys can see the instrument a little bit too. Please help me with this. Oh, why is it always testing me? Okay, bear with me. There we go. Almost lost you guys. Whoa, still losing you. What the heck is going on? Quit throwing things at me, dang it. Alright, I think we're getting back in there. Alright, sorry about that. I'm trying to get this little screen so in case you guys can see it, I don't know if you can, but it's got our 4.4 and our depth of 494.5. Okay, so our deep quake is recent. Okay, these other quakes around here are older. So what we're going to do is we're going to close that one out and start going to these other quakes up here. This one was a 5.6 at a depth of 10. This one was a 5.6 at a depth of 25. So very close to the surface. 25 and 10 is really close to the surface. These quakes were before this deep one. Energy was in the system. It scrubbed off a 4.6 here at a depth of 120. That's about 4.7 or 8 at the surface. We had this up here, 4.5 at a depth of 135. That's, again, 4.7 at the surface probably. Here we have a 4.6 at a depth of 12. Here we have a 4.8. All right, so that energy, the mid 4 to 4.8 energy was going through the system with 5.6s down here. Okay, nothing further south. So that was the activity of the day. And then just recently, after all that activity today, our new deep quake with a 4.4 to a depth of 494. So that's about 5 energy, maybe a little bit higher at the surface. So we had a couple of 5.6s here. I would expect to see more 5 to mid 5 range activity starting off here, going into the system, as well as traveling down this way. As it goes through the system, it's going to drop off quakes all at these little focal point areas. This one, let's check. This is a 5.6. What's the time on that? Nope, that's still before our deep quake. So none of this energy on the map is from this deep quake. This is all energy that was already in the system, scrubbing energy off throughout the day. Then we had our small deep quake. We had 5.6 energy at a depth of 317. So that's like 5.8, 5.9, almost a 6, but 5.9 energy at the surface here. This is depth of 317. It's at this little deep pit area that we just had an event the other day. So watch this area. Here we go with another quake in this region, a deep quake at a 5.6. So in between these two fracture zones, we have this bridge fracture right here at Japan. There could be a possible bridge fracture there later on. Here is another place where we would have weakness right next to this pit. It's on the plateau, so it's not on the shelf wall or on the edge, so that's good. We'll take that any day. Scrubbing energy off in that region is fine with me. Okay, a little small energy over here, nothing much. Not much came down the Juan de Fuca, a little mouse fart here, couple of them, a few of them. Let's check out this one, the Cocos plate, 4.3 at a depth of 98. So, let's see where that's at. Oh, it's on land this time, good. Also, the coastline, where all the sand and water mix together, it gets really loose. The ground is kind of saturated with water. It can not liquefy, but liquefaction. It's almost kind of jello-ish type underneath this surface right here. See this river, this little valley? This is a pretty deep cut coming down this valley, coming down this plateau or whatever, not plateau, but down this foothills into the ocean. And sure enough, right in this river area, the weak zone. It's another weak zone because there's water down underneath this, right? So just off to the weak side of the weak zone is our 4.3. I would expect to see maybe this little area. Wow. Look at this underwater crack right here that's leading up to this river. It's as almost as if this water has made a channel. The turbulence of the water pouring out has almost carved a channel or some type of effect down here. Here's our river coming out right here, and here's our effect. So there might be like a little crack or weak spot in the crust right there as well. All right, look at we have these volcanic features. Holy crap! Look at this. You got two volcanoes right at the base of it. Three of them. One, two, three. Awesome. Cool. All right. And that's at the Cocos Plate. So at least it's on land and it's scrubbing energy off. I'll take that all day too. Okay. We already checked out these. Oh, good. So I'm on the Mid-Atlantic Ridge. I was hoping to see. Ooh, we had a little swarm here. Whoa, what happened here? Okay, close this up. Let's start dancing through these. Everybody ready? Let's go. 5.1, depth of 10. Wow. 5.0, depth of 10. Wow. 5.6, depth of 10. 5.2, depth of 10. 4.4, depth of 10. And a 4.7 at a depth of 10. And a 4.9. All these shallow quakes right at this zigzag. Let me, can you see this red little box type structure? There we go, a little bit. It almost looks like a tooth sticking out, but the line's coming down like this. It abruptly comes up, boom, and makes a box and comes down. This little shelf, this tab, almost like a tab on a cardboard box, like the top of a box of cereal tab. You know, see how it's sticking out like that? It bends right here. It has weakness right in between these 2 points right here. And that's where we're seeing our quake swarm. There's pressure being put on this tab right here. And it's having a swarm in between two focal points. I wish we could get a little tighter. This focal point and this focal point. See this little, it's like a cardboard tab from a box, the top of a cereal box right here, or, you know, just a little granola bar box. You know what I'm talking about. Cardboard flap with a little tab that goes in the slot. And right there on this fault right here is that weakness. And we're having a quake swarm, Mid-Atlantic Ridge. Ooh, whoa. Okay, we have this three-way intersection here too. So we have focal points here, and then a bigger one. It's not as sharp, but pointing this way as well. Okay, we got the focal point pointing this way, the one pointing up that way. Sorry, can't get my pointer that way. And then this duller one pointing down. With this quake swarm kind of close to this region, let's just kind of keep an eye on this, because if we start seeing stuff cracking off at this focal point, we have a quake swarm right there. We could have a big one set off there that would affect the East Coast. Not good. So we'll watch this, because usually it's just a couple of quakes here and there, scrubbing energy off at the Mid-Atlantic Ridge, but we seem to be having a swarm here. All right, so enough of that. Let's get on over to the, before all the data's gone. It's all gone. Yay, I missed all the data. Cool. So we'll just play what we got here. It's pretty much the next 24 hours, 2 days that matter. Anything after that is hard to predict with the energy. Now, something to consider. We have that inbound energy coming in that came off the sun on the 21st. Then we had 2 quiet days. So after tomorrow, the 24th, we'll say, our weather could possibly have more energy added to it. But the day after tomorrow, not so much, and the day after that, not so much. Okay? It's just the 24th we need to get past here, and we'll have a couple of days of breathing room, it looks like. At least as far as added energy to our already, you know, volatile weather right now. So I'm going to kind of set it up like that for a second. I'm sitting there rambling during my smoke break. Just give me a second to get a sip of a soda and a quick drag so I can finish my prayer, regain my composure, and finish this, and we'll get into the spiritual report. Maybe you guys just take a little peek at what's going on here. This is starting the 24th through the 26th. And I will do a quick thing. Just bear with me real quick. Break time real quick. Ow. Are you guys experiencing any kind of disruption with your electronics? Your phones, your computers, like abnormal disruptions, not normal stuff. You know, you click on something 4 or 5 times and it just never plays. Stuff like that. Or stuff that you clicked on and started watching and it just changes on its own to something else. Just wondering if you guys are having those kind of spiritual attacks yet. And then we gotta do the wake up call. Oh. Hang on, real quick, I'll be right back. Yeah, I know. Okay, I'm back, guys. Alright, sorry for the disruption there. Cool, I didn't lose too many people. Alright, sorry, I had to step away for a minute there. We had an emergency as well. Now, we're back. So, let's pause it right here. Oops, come on, give me the next frame. Alright, current conditions right now. Let me get my pointer. This is the morning hours of June 24th. Intense thunderstorms. Excuse me. So they're waking up to thunderstorms and heavy hail, high winds and stuff. This is 5 a.m. Pacific, so that translates to about 6 a.m., 7 a.m. This region, they're going to wake up to thunderstorms already. So as we progress, this is the noon time. This is the end of convection tomorrow. Now we know we have inbound energy coming in tomorrow that's going to affect the northern hemisphere. Do you see how this tightened up in the last couple frames? Boom. Let's go these 3 frames. From here, boom, boom. Do you see how it tightened up and intensified? at the end of convection right here. Now, this is going to be even bigger, all right? I expect maybe this whole hook right here to be yellow for tomorrow afternoon, this time, the end of convection, all right? So this model does not take into account the added energy that's coming off of the sun. So I expect this day to be the day of intensification, and we're talking for all regions. This area down here in Florida, let me pull this up. Okay, see the tip of Florida there, all enhanced. Okay, so watch out there. Tornado chasers are going to be busy, probably up in this region if they're chasing tomorrow. Potential for a big one tomorrow in this region. Okay, we're talking Minnesota, North Dakota, even South Dakota, down into Iowa. All right, even Illinois. It doesn't show a lot of it in the state, but this is going to reach down. It's going to get bigger. I pray it doesn't. I want everybody praying hard tonight, this morning, whenever you do your praying. Pray hard. The storm doesn't hurt too many people. It's gonna be a gnarly one, so watch out. Watch out in this region, okay? If you know family and friends in this box right here, all right, even though there's none in Nebraska or down into Kansas, this thing could change violently tomorrow, okay? Because you saw, look, no more playing games. Okay, that is the 21st. I want you to take a long, hard look at this added energy. This thing coming at us tomorrow. All right, that's a lot of energy. Bam, and see how much plasma comes off with it? So here's our little spire. Boom. And see all the plasma ripped away with it? So all of that is inbound tomorrow. Let's pray we don't have one of these events tomorrow when shit hits us. Okay? I'm already juggling enough as it is. Anyways, so back to forecast, Brian. Come on. So I expect this to intensify. All right? This region will be bigger. We might see a derecho out of this. Now, what we need to do is check the next frame. It continues into the midnight hours. It doesn't blossom too much, but it does continue. So this storm will have enough strength at the end of the afternoon to continue into the night. Then in the morning, it dissipates. This is the morning of the 25th. Here's the noon, the 25th. The end of convection, June 25th. Now, the energy that came off the sun on the 22nd, 3 days prior, was not much. Okay? So, I don't expect this to intensify much more than what the model is already showing. Okay, but it's showing this thing tightening up with intense thunderstorms here in Michigan, Wisconsin, the Great Lakes area. Okay, pop-ups at this tail. See this tail pop up down here? This is down in Arkansas, Tennessee. This Ohio River, Mississippi River junction area right in here. Okay, and that's the end of convection, June 25th. We go into the night. It blossoms down here now. Okay, it dissipates up here, but this blossoms into the nighttime with more thunderstorms, hail, high winds, possible derecho. Thank you, Lord. I'm trying my best here. This is the morning hours of the 26th. This is noon the 26th. This is the end of convection on the 26th. Now, the energy that left the sun 3 days prior to the 26th, which was on the 23rd, wasn't much. Okay, so I don't expect this to intensify more than what the model is already showing. But it can. I don't expect it to. But what we're looking at are, let me just get in. I think it's 1.0. There it is, yeah. Good peak here at the East Coast. We're talking Virginia, West Virginia, New York. Well, not up into. Well, yeah, there's some up into New York a little bit too. Let's even pull it up. See that it comes up into Canada here too. The center of the low is just right here on the border. Okay, so this is the end of convection in the East Coast, and this could fill in. There's a tail down here. We have a little pop up possible in this region. Okay, so let me pull back out of this. Okay, and continue on. So that's the end of convection right there on the 26th. There's the overnight hours into the 27th. That's the morning hours to the 27th. The noontime and the end of convection June 27th. Now, today we didn't have much come off the sun. Or no, whatever comes off the sun today, sorry, on the 24th will affect that day. My bad. Will affect the 27th. So we have no idea if there's going to be added energy to this or not. Then this moves on out. It blossoms overnight up here in Canada. This breakout at the Canadian border here with North Dakota. This breakout, look, we're going to go frame back. See how there's nothing in Kansas at the end of convection, but then overnight, in the nighttime, this blossoms here in Kansas. This blossoms up here at the Canadian border. This blossoms up here at nighttime. The morning hours of the 28th, noon the 28th, the end of convection the 28th, most of the country clear, just little thunderstorm pop-ups in the mountainous region on the west. That's noon the 28th. Yeah, noon the 28th. Oh, that's our last frame. Okay, so there's your loop. Let it play real quick. So this storm is going to produce more tomorrow than what it shows. Everything else should be what it's showing. Okay, so this storm, the opening one, is the one we're most concerned about. The other two are still going to probably. Now that I'm looking at it, it's this low that wraps up, comes over, it's still there, then it dives into this. So whatever added energy it collected on the first day hopefully dissipates on the second day and then on the third day. Okay, so there's your forecast. And lately I've been watching the weather results. I have been so bombarded that I don't even get to watch the tornado chasers anymore and pray with them. But what I do get to catch up on every once in a while is a lot of this forecasting that I'm showing you coming true, isn't it? I mean, I'm not trying to say, oh, I'm right, blah, 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 blah. I'm just trying to say these regions that I've been pointing out and the events, that we call for when we see inbound energy have been happening. They've been correlating and been lining up just like they should. So we've kind of gotten this down to a science here. And as long as we know what days inbound energy to add to this forecast model, we can get a better idea of our big catastrophic events that could possibly catch us off guard, okay? Because nothing worse than being caught off guard. If you know it's coming, you can take shelter. If you know it's coming, you can evacuate. If you know it's coming, you can, brace for impact. You can, all sorts of things you can do when you know it's coming. All right, you can prepare. I just don't want to see anybody getting broadsided without a fair warning, all right? Okay, so we're done with the solar report. For all you that hung in there for that, thank you very much. Now we're going to get over to the spiritual realm and do our spiritual report. Yes, sir. Okay, hang on just a second. Yeah, you want to go chase it real quick? Go chase it. Just don't bring it back in the house. Alright. Got a cat that talks, it's wonderful. So there's your weather. Okay, now let's get on over to our spiritual realm and our report tonight. Let me close other stuff out. Oh, it's pulling it up. I hope it's pulling. Let me just clear out some of these instruments. I guess they take up a little bit too much of my bandwidth or whatever. Okay, that's good enough. Now, what we're going to do here, why is this not playing? Okay, so what I want to do here is play this little ditty. Okay, I think you recognize this instrument. This is an instrument that we look at all the time. This is stereo A, but the date is a few years ago because there was a very significant event that happened. Okay, everybody missed it. Help me with this one too, Lord. So I guess I'm just going to play this quick little snippet of my video. This video is called Wake Up Call, all right? This stream is called Your Wake Up Call, because here it comes. Okay, give me volume. Anything else? Get rid of that. Get rid of that. All right, there we go.
Here's our object right here. Looks like Nibiru. It's got a wing coming off on this side and a wing coming off on that side. And that's not all, because behind that is this big object right here. This is what's causing our flares. Here's a third flare. Boom. Here's our object right here. Looks like Nibiru. It's got a wing coming off on this side and a wing coming off on that side.
Okay. What I want to try to do is get a little closer on this object. Okay. If you tilt your head at this angle, you can make out this little flaming wing coming off and curling back. There is an identical wing that curls back. They almost look like horns, like a set of horns or a set of wings, plasma wings. You can see plasma all the way around our dark object in the center. There is a CME going around the front of this round spheroid object as well, splitting off into two, making a little area down here exposed. Okay, so here is your fabled winged planet Nibiru, captured on, note this date, September 10th of 2017. Okay, take note of that date, September 10th of 2017. Then there's another object back behind it.
And that's not all, because behind that is this big object right here. This is what's causing our flares. Here's a conduit of plasma that is sucking off of our sun, going into this planet. Here's a damage ring or an impact zone on this planet right here. You can see Nibiru sticking out in front of it here. Run this backwards. You can see it goes backwards. There's the second flare. Back behind the sun, comes back out. There's the first flare. So the mass of that object is...
Okay, so there were 3 X flares in this period, this time period, and this time period was when the sun was supposed to go into grand solar minimum. It was supposed to be going sleepy, not out cold, but, you know, the activity dying down. And what happened? We had 3 giant X flares and nobody in the scientific community batted an eye. Well, guess what? Something was captured in there, right? Can you see this big old round spheroid object? Can you see the plasma draping over it? Can you see the conduit of plasma going into this? It's slamming into the surface of this stellar core, okay, and spreading out in a circular fashion, creating a damage ring or an impact zone. Here is Nibiru, this red stellar core, out in front of it, okay? It's orbiting the bigger one in the background. All right. Okay, God, help me with this again. So, this is a sign, okay? Something else I need to point out to you. This white circle represents the size of the sun, not the black circle. The black circle is the occulter on the camera that blocks out the sun so it doesn't blind the camera. So we can see this stuff on the side, right? The white circle represents the size of the sun. This thing is not side by side with it. It's back at a 45-degree angle. It is not proportionally its size comparison. It's a lot bigger than it looks because it's still back behind the sun at a 45-degree angle. This thing is much bigger than our sun. Take a minute to look at that picture and wrap your mind around it. What you're looking at is 5 to 10 times bigger than our sun. Our sun is huge compared to us. This thing is huge compared to our sun. Nibiru itself looks like to be bigger than our sun. Okay? And this, all right, you're going to have to help me with this part, Lord. Oh, okay, yeah, that's what we'll do. Now what I'm going to do is open up the Bible, and I'm going to read Revelation 12. What the hell? Quit throwing shit. Hang on. I got it. Hang on. All right. Oh, man. The joys of paranormal activity, poltergeist activity. It's driving a normal person nuts. I'm used to it now. Okay, back to where we were now. So, what we're trying to do here is read Revelation 12. Okay? And let me get my light out. So I can read this. It's not notes. We're actually reading the actual Revelation 13, verse 12. Okay. Revelation 12 is the woman and the dragon. Okay. The woman and the dragon. A great and wondrous sign appeared in heaven. A woman clothed with the sun, with the moon under her feet, and a crown of 12 stars on her head. She was pregnant and cried out in pain as she was about to give birth. Then another sign appeared in heaven. So there were two signs. An enormous red dragon with 7 heads and 10 horns and 7 crowns on his heads. His tail swept 1/3 of the stars out of the sky and flung them to the earth. The dragon stood in front of the woman who was about to give birth so that he might devour her child the moment it was born. She gave birth to a son, a male child, who will rule all the nations with an iron scepter. Okay? So, back to this part where we're talking about the woman. So, I want to take you over to the woman. Okay, we're going to run this quick little video here, this little ditty, and I want you to pay attention to the date on this video.
2000. On September 23rd, 2017.
What? September 23rd, 2017. This is September 10th, 2017. 13 days before this.
Moon and stars will align to fulfill a 2,000-year-old prophecy, and there appeared a great wonder in heaven, a woman clothed with the sun, and the moon under her feet, and upon her head a crown of 12 stars. And she, being with child, cried, travailing in birth, and pain to be delivered. And she brought forth a man-child, who was to rule all nations with a rod of iron, and her child was caught up unto God, and to his throne. Before you click off this video, I understand there's been many false predictions, false prophecies over the years. This is different. Bear with me and see. First, you need to understand that God made the sun, moon, and stars, and they all obey his order. By the word of the Lord were the heavens made, and all the host of them by the breath of his mouth. Canst thou bind the sweet influences of Pleiades, or loose the bands of Orion? Canst thou bring forth Mazzaroth in his season? So we see here that God himself says that he moved the constellations. They obey his ordained order. There's many more verses. Please pause the video to see them. They'll also be in the description. Okay, so we have the constellation Virgo clothed with the sun. And then, as you can see here, the moon is under her feet, and above her head is the 9 stars from the constellation Leo, plus the 3 planets that align perfectly. And to fulfill the birth prophecy, you have Jupiter that stays in the womb for 9 months. Absolute precision. Another thing you must realize is this is not astrology. This is the lost knowledge of biblical astronomy. Stick with me, and you'll see. Let's start at the beginning and see what God said. And let there be lights in the firmament of the heaven to divide the day from the night, and let them be for signs and for seasons and for days and years. Jesus himself said that when he returns, there shall be signs in the sun and the moon and the stars. Think about this. If God wanted to speak to all his children across the entire earth and speak to them all at once in the same universal language, how would he do it? Look at Psalm 19. The heavens declare the glory of God, and the firmament showeth his handiwork. Day unto day utters speech, and night unto night showeth knowledge. There is no speech nor language where their voice is not heard. Their line is gone out through all the earth, and their words to the end of the world. When Jesus was born, it was marked in the stars. The 3 wise men saw his star in the east and knew of it. What makes you think his second coming would be any different? Isn't this sign just a retelling of Jesus' birth? And didn't he say no man knows the day or the hour? We look at Revelation 1:1. The revelation of Jesus Christ, which God gave unto him, to show unto his servants things which must shortly come to pass. Revelation 1:1 shows us that the Father showed all things to Jesus when he ascended to the throne, and he showed us in the book of Revelation. Jesus himself, when he spoke to the churches, said that his believers, his followers, if they overcome and hold his words to the end, they would rule with a rod of iron. This is a very specific passage that connects Revelation 12 and a prophecy of what's going to happen for his believers. Alright, so are we just cherry picking a couple verses and trying to put a prophecy behind it? Or is this found anywhere else in the Bible? I'm glad you asked. Unfortunately, we will not be able to read all these verses. Please feel free to pause and take a look at each one of these coinciding verses, which are all pieces to this grand puzzle. Well, what does it all mean? No one knows exactly. What's very interesting is the language that is used in Revelation 12, where the child is caught up unto God. The word caught up is the Greek word harpazo. It's the same word used in Thessalonians when Paul describes the rapture. We are not saying this is what's going to happen, but it is certainly...
Caught up also translates to presented to God. The child was presented to God. Think of it that way, okay? So let me finish this real quick, and then we'll get into more understanding of this.
Be aware of. The main message is to know that this alignment has not happened in the last 2,000 years since its prophecy. While it's imperative,
2,000-year-old prophecy came true on September 23rd, 2017, and the whole world witnessed it, all right? They all saw the woman, but no one saw the dragon. Everybody missed the dragon. And it says in the Revelation, then another sign appeared in heaven, an enormous red dragon. Okay, so I think everybody was looking for the dragon after this alignment, after the 23rd, but it actually happened before the alignment, 13 days before the alignment, on September 10th. The dragon, and it's 7 heads, 7 moons, and 10 horns, and 7 crowns on his heads. So they're probably life on these 7 planets or whatever that rotate around this with kings on them. Okay? So the dragon stood in front of the woman. It stood 13 days in front, 13 days before. The word in front of the woman can also be the word before. The dragon stood before the woman. The dragon stood 13 days. The dragon stood 13 days before the woman. All right? All real events that really happened. This one happened to me. When I found this, I was a wreck. When I realized how big this thing is compared to our sun and what it's... Let me just tell you something. The sun is the biggest object in our solar system. It keeps our solar system together and maintains it, right? It's like 99% the mass of our entire solar system is the sun. This thing has more mass than our entire solar system. Maybe it's not orbiting our sun. Maybe our sun and us are orbiting it. Don't you think? Since it's bigger, don't you think maybe we're making passes by it and it's not passing us? We're going by it, and it gives the perspective that it looks like it's going past us, but we're going past it. It's the central spot. We're rotating around it just like this thing is. And guess what happened to this? It got stripped all the way down to the core. Guess what's going to happen here? Probably stripped all the way down to the core. This thing's like a vampire star. It sucks in plasma trying to reignite. But the core itself is much bigger than our ignited sun. So there's your wake-up call. You guys better wake up and smell the pavement. Because that's a real celestial event right there, predicted in the Bible. Okay, that's the dragon. The dragon appeared 13 days before the woman to devour the child. And this matches the description of a black hole, a neutron star, a stellar core. It matches the definition of a lot of different celestial objects. And its behavior is different. Let's just say it doesn't follow your regular celestial mechanics. Okay? That's what's throwing all the scientists off. They don't know what's going on. They don't understand. Well, some in the top secret world understand. Okay? Well, now you're part of that world. Okay? You can see it with your own eyes. And if you can't see this image, I did a drawing of this when I was in protective custody. So let me, whoops, that's not it. Oh, it's in the top secret file, that's right. Hang on, let me grab my top secret file. Because I got a drawing of this, so you can get a better representation of what it really is and what it really looks like. Okay? So just bear with me a second here. See if we can get this to work here. Let's slide this back a little bit. Okay, that image right there, here, I've drawn a picture of it and see if we can get some light on this without blinding the camera. Okay. This would be our sun. This is the conduit of plasma that it's sucking into that black hole. All right, this thing bends and absorbs light. That's why you can't see it. It doesn't reflect light. You can't see it because it doesn't reflect light. Light comes off of a light source, the sun, a light bulb. It hits the table, bounces off the table, and hits your eye. You're actually seeing the light that's bouncing off the table from the light above you. Okay? If it doesn't bounce off the table and the table absorbed the light, you wouldn't be able to see the table. You would have an invisible table. Well, how can you see an invisible table? Well, you can't unless you throw a tablecloth over it. Well, then it paints the contour, the edges, the contour, the shape, giving it a profile or painting a target. All right? The sun is painting this target. It's so massive, has so much gravity that it bends and absorbs light. Do you see light bending right here? Can you see the light bending? The light is curving and bending around the edge of the spheroid object right here. See this light bending? Ta-da! Bending light. The only way you're really seeing this is because the light's draping, this plasma is draping around this object. If it wasn't for the plasma, you wouldn't be able to see this thing. Same with Nibiru here. It doesn't reflect light either. Both of these are down to a state of matter, almost like a neutron star. It's so dense that all the electrons and protons, everything's been squeezed out of it. Super, super dense material. A teaspoon of this would weigh more than Jupiter. Okay? Very, very, very dense object. Probably our binary twin that burned out. That's why they thought we were a single star system, because we couldn't see our binary. Well, you can't see it because it doesn't reflect light. It's not emitting light. It's super depleted of energy. So any kind of energy source it gets next to, it strips it, sucks it dry of energy, trying to reignite and get back to a burning phase. Imagine if you took a battery, say a Duracell battery that has copper wire in it, right? And you drain that battery, every last electron out of it, all right? Every last electron down to just copper wire, right? Then you take some more energy out of it. Well, how does that happen? It actually changes the phase of the material. The copper turns into a new phase of material that is super depleted of electrons and protons. And it will latch on to anything that's emitting electrons or protons and suck them out. Okay? And that's a black hole. It's sucking in light. It's devouring. It's like a vampire star. It's going to eat our sun eventually. And every time we pass by this, or it passes by us, however you want to look at it, it's affecting the sun. These huge flares come in our direction, overheat the core, and we see results through earthquakes, wild weather, blah, 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 blah. All the shit I've been showing you. This is a biblical event, as well as this. Both events were predicted 2,000 years ago and came true. Both of them did. All right? Everybody saw the woman, but y'all missed the dragon. And God showed me the dragon and said, hey, y'all saw the woman, but y'all missed the dragon here. And he showed me this, and I was floored. All right? And after that, I had to, he commanded me to warn the world. So I made that little video that you just saw called Wake Up Call. All right. It wasn't a very good video. It was one of my first. And it was excruciating to make because I was still in a state of shock at seeing this. I was in a state of shock at hearing God's voice and telling me things, commanding me. So when this happened to me, it really rocked my world. Okay. Plus the words "you're dead" came along with this. It's quite obvious that we're not going to last forever with this thing attacking our sun. Okay. So right after that, I want you to get this one, please, Lord. We're making progress, just inch at a time. You guys hang in there. I'll go until the battery dies, or my phone fries, or whatever great activity happens. Help me. We're trying to get to. Oh yes. Then this wonderful event happened to me right here.
We've all got a wild.
I got a haircut. No. Oh, God. Enough of the ads. Oh, yeah. This one's funny, though.
Feed your wild side.
I can see Mary's face crystal clear. Hopefully,
Okay.
old photos.
Oh,
and
come on
running
now.
them.
So, the date on this photo for my security camera is October 5th of 2017. Just to get that in the screen there for you. Okay. October 5th, 2017. That's 12 days after the Revelation 12 sign, after the woman's star alignment. Okay, after that, I was commanded to make that video. It took me a while to make it. And once I finally did get it up and posted, I didn't know how to post it. It took forever. I struggled, and I had a breakdown. I went down to my garage and started praying. And this is what my security camera captured.
Howdy, folks. Welcome back. So I've been going through some of the old photos and running them through the filter, and this was one of the first ones that I had ever captured. And what's going on here is I'm here on my knees. I'm crying and screaming and praying, all three at once. I was in some extreme anguish. A paranormal traumatic event happened to me.
Angel.
So unbelievable, you guys wouldn't believe it. So if I told you, so I'm going to show you instead. So in this image here, I'm sitting here praying, and Mary's head appears right next to my head, and we're going to zoom in on this. You can't go in too tight on it, but she's looking down at my head this way. Let's see, there's pretty good. And you can make out her eye and her nose coming down, her shoulder.
Okay. So, her face is facing down this way. Here's the ridge of her eye. Here's her nose coming down. Her other eye would be on this other side. This dark shadow right here is the inside of her shawl. If you've ever seen like a candle or a picture of Mary, it shows the shawl over her head, and one side of the shawl is in shadow. This black streak is not on the floor of the garage or anything. This setup right here, this yellow ball, this is a three-dimensional setup of the wake-up call. I was trying to show Coast to Coast and George Norrie a three-dimensional representation of that picture because they couldn't see it. So while I had this set up in my garage prior to that, after completing the first video, I went out to my garage. I was a mess, crying, screaming, and praying. Here I am on my knees, crying, screaming, and praying. All three at the same time. The weirdest feeling ever. And this is what my security camera captured. Mary, this orb with an eye in it, and an angel that's in the background. So we're going to continue this.
coming over, and it's in shadow right here. This is a shadow of the inside of her shawl going over her head like this. Here's her eye, her nose, her other eye would be on the other side there. Okay. You can't go in too tight on it. And then also is this white ball with an eye in it, this white orb with an eye in it. Okay, and that's not all, because over here in this corner up here is an angel, the silhouette of an angel with his wings spread, with his back to us, standing in a shaft of light. Here's his head, there's a glow over the head, the wings are extended, and there's a feather coming off. The last feather coming off is crossing over these brown roof tiles in the background here. And you can make out there's an angel right here. And
Alright, can you see it, you guys, a little bit there? He's got his back to us. His wings are spread like this. And here's the last feather crossing this little roof tile, making this white stripe on the... There's nothing white on this stack of roof tiles. That white stripe is this dimension coming into our dimension.
his head right here. Going a little bit tighter. So there's the angel with his back to us and his wings spread. Yeah, you can see a lot better with the filter. Before it was really faint and it was hard to see. Same with this. This came out a little bit better here. Yeah, there's Mary looking down at my head because I was in anguish. I mean, what happened to me was just so disturbing. I can't even describe it. I was in crying, screaming, and praying. An experience I'd never felt before. All three of them at the same time. It was just terrible. But what happened was I was out in my garage and...
Alright, and let's I'll get this whole picture here. Alright, so in this image, this is the one frame, alright? What's going on? There's more going on here than meets the eye, alright? Apparently so, right? So, if you've ever noticed imagery in the Bible or seen religious paintings or any kind of historical painting documenting divine scenes and stuff like that, wherever there's Mary, this is the God eye. That's what I call it. It's like the orb with an eye in it, the all-seeing eye, the God eye, with an angel. So we got Mary, God, and an angel, but where's Jesus? Usually, they're all there. So we have an angel, Mary, the God eye, but where's Jesus? Well, he's in the picture if you know what to look for. He's in the picture if you know what to look for. This is an anointing ceremony. After I did that video, it was really hard for me to do, and warned the world to put my reputation on the line for that stupid video. This happened. This is just like an anointing ceremony. And this isn't all, because something happened the day before this that was on my cameras that I didn't find for years later. It was years that later I heard God say, hey, go back, you missed something. I'm like, what? Really? So I went back and looked, and guess what I found? You ready to see this? Here we go.
And here. So there's that one for the moment. Just real quick, let's zoom in real quick on her, because I want you to see that this little structure right here is actually a tube. It's part of a display that I had made, a three-dimensional replica of a sign that God showed me. So this is a little replica that I had set up in my garage. I was doing videos to try to describe what I had seen. and that was sitting in the background. So this part right here is a tube that's on the ground. But as we zoom in, this black area right here, this shaded area, the inside of her shawl is not in the garage. That is natural, or that's part of this picture. So that's definitely pointing out that there's something here, and it's, for me, it's easy to see. I can see Mary's face crystal clear. Hopefully some of you guys can too. And it's not just Mary. There's more to it than just Mary. There's Jesus too. So don't think this is a Catholic type thing or whatever. It has more to do with it than you think. So, on to my next picture. Okay, in this image here, you can see we're still in the garage with our same display right here. And this was actually captured the day before the other picture, but I hadn't found it for years later until I was digging around through my, my old pictures and stuff, and went even further back to see if I'd missed anything, and I captured this one. And we're going to zoom into this streak right up here, this one right here. Just bear with me for a second here. Now, hopefully, you can see that we have a lady's profile here. Here's her eye, here's her forehead, her snub little nose, here's the bottom jaw, she's smiling, she's looking down, and she's holding a baby, and here's the baby's head right here. Here's the face, the back of the head, here's her arm cupped around like this, and she's holding the baby. Now I'm going to run this through the filter real quick, and it's going to enhance it, but a little bit too much. See, now you can really make out her profile a lot better and see her face, and her headdress is coming over and going down back behind her. And you can still make out the baby's head right here. And if I pull back a little bit, there we go. And this was captured on October 4th. So this was about 11 days after the Revelation 12 sign. All this stuff started happening to me just prior to the Revelation 12 sign, and then right after it. So it said the woman was about to give birth. Well, it looks like maybe she gave birth, and here's the little baby being caught up to God. Yep, it's a lot better there. Hopefully you guys can see this a little bit better now than before. We'll undo the filter real quick just so you can get the original. Now you can see the baby's head just a little bit better. You can make out his little ear. And then we'll put the filter back in again. And there we go. There's your Revelation 12 baby being born right there in my garage, caught on my security camera. So that's it for now. My next video, I've been capturing demons and Satan as well, and I'm...
Alright. So, this happened, this was October 4th of 2017. So, 11 days after the star alignment, this happened in my garage. Then the next day, 12 days after, Married Angels showed up in my garage. Alright? This, this event happened the night I was doing my video. This event, the Mary event, is the night of my video that I finally finished it and posted it, and the relief was just, there was no relief. It was actually anguish. I was hoping to get relief, and instead it was torture. Then to find out 2 years, 3 years later that this had happened the night before and was sitting on the roll of my film, or on my camera roll the whole time, and I didn't even know it. So here's your Revelation 12 baby right there. Let's get the filter on it here. There we go. Alright, hopefully you can pull this closer too. And we're going to go like this so you can make out the baby's head here. her arms cupped around it right here. Here's the baby's nose, his forehead, the back of his head, and his ear. Okay, you can see the baby's head. Here's her arm cupped around. You can see her face. She looks, like somebody said alien. Well, kind of reptilian, doesn't she? Let me get it just right on her face here. I want to get closer, Lord. How do we get closer? Alright, well, I guess you guys can see it pretty good. Alright, let's get it just on her face. Okay. So here's her eye. She has this snub little nose, just a short little nose, and then this big mouth with teeth in it. Alright, so she looks kind of demonic or reptilian or some other race. You know, it could be, even though they look ugly, they could be peaceful, whatever. But there's the woman holding the baby, and it's being caught up or presented to God. Okay? On my security cameras in my garage. Security cameras admissible as evidence in a court of law. In fact, that's what they prefer to have these days, right? Is security camera footage. It shows the perpetrator break in. Well, here's your perpetrator. They didn't break in and steal anything. She came in and had a baby instead, and left this image on my security camera that's admissible as evidence in a court of law. So take that, put that in your pipe and smoke it right there, okay? There's your Revelation 12 baby being born as the prophecy predicted 2,000 years ago. So both signs, the woman and the dragon and the baby. So all three signs I just showed you. All right? Now, let's close out with this, my reading, this notes here, and I got to, so much for going to bed. I got to kick ass tonight. That's all I do. Okay, let me take a sip here. You guys ready for this? Hold on tight. Bust out your recording devices, whatever you're going to do. I don't give a care. I don't give a shit. First off, I know you guys are under a lot of stress, all right? I know what's going on over in Russia, all right? Don't let the media and the news get to you. It's important to know what's going on and keep tabs on it, but do not let it rule your life, okay? There's more important things. You should be enjoying these days while you still have these days. Go live it up. Quit wallowing in misery. All right, let me read some of these notes here. Oh, help me, Lord. Okay, the light of my presence shines on every situation in your life, past, present, and future. I knew you before the creation of the world, and I have loved you with an everlasting love. You are never alone, so look for me in your moments. Search for me as for hidden treasure. Seek to see me in the midst of all your circumstances. Don't let them obscure your view of me. Sometimes I display my presence in grand, glorious ways, and at other times I show myself in simple, humble ways that make sense only to you. Ask me to open your eyes and your heart to discern all my communications to you. As you go through this day, remind yourself to look for the light of my presence shining on your life. Don't have such a narrow focus that you see only responsibilities and worldly concerns. Instead, expand your focus to include me in your perspective. You will seek me and find me when you search for me with all of your heart. Okay? I make your feet like the feet of a deer. I enable you to stand on the heights. I created deer with the ability to climb steep mountains with ease and to stand on the heights with confidence. Your trust in me can give you confidence to walk and make progress upon your high places of trouble, responsibility, or suffering. It's crucial to remember that you live in a world where your spiritual enemies never declare a truce. So you need to stay alert and be ready for battle. Unlike warriors with servants to help them put on their gear, you must make the effort to armor yourself each day. No matter what happens, I want you to be able to stand your ground, and after you have done everything, to stand. When you're in the thick of battle, declare your trust in me, your confidence that I am with you, helping you. You may feel as if you're losing the battle, but don't give up. Hold tightly to my hand and just keep standing. And that is what victory is. Okay? I love all you guys. I miss you dearly. Okay? We're going to make it. We're going to stand strong. All right? I want you guys, you see this stuff? This is real. Do not doubt this imagery for a second. You take this imagery and you run with it. You know now. There is no second guessing. This is a battle of knowing, the people that do know versus the rest of the world. And we're a small, tight-knit little family around here. The rest of the world is taking us on, and they're either gonna find out the hard way, or they could just tag along like you guys are doing. It's not too hard, is it? Pretty cool, entertaining, little shock value. You know, everything that the society likes these days. All here in this channel. All real evidence. Just blowing you guys out of the water over there at YouTube. I wonder why they put their ads on my channel. Alright, I love you guys. I gotta go. Until my next video, I'll be back. I am back already. Back in black.